Oh, time to check some brakes. Okay, let's take the bolt out of the slide pin. Check to see whether that slides in alright. Yep, it's all good. Right, let's push the piston back in. Once again, the outer pad's probably got 5mm. Inner pad probably got nearly 2mm, 1.5, 2mm. Okay, inner pad in. Outer pad in. Yeah, the slide pins use a 14mm socket for those ones, and the caliper bolts are 19mm. But I use a deep socket on the top one to go in between the brake line, and an ordinary one on the bottom, because otherwise it won't fit in because it hits the shock. Show you another little trick that I came up with. I welded a skid plate on the bottom of the trolley jack. That way it doesn't sink into the ground. So, seems to work quite well. Anyway, that's the rear brake pads done, and the slide pins are being checked and they're all working. So it seems like all the back brakes are working alright now. Hopefully I won't get that squealing noise anymore. Well, I've decided that I'm going to drive the old girl down to Victoria, see if she'll make it. But I'm going to put some coolant in it before it goes, because it's just running on water at the moment. So I'm not sure whether that will start leaking again, but I guess we'll soon find out. Anyway, we'll get into it. Okay, I've got to drain the block, get the water out of it to change the coolant. But because the main drain plug is rounded off, I'm using the coolant return pipe from the turbo as the lowest point to drain the block. And just in case you're wondering, that's a 17mm socket that fits on there. Okay, I've drained the radiator, just waiting for the block to finish draining. And I've drained the overflow tank. There's a problem. This thing's supposed to take 10.5 litres of coolant. So far I've put 15 litres in it and it's still not full. No leaks. Now I'll have to pick up some more. Temperature seems about normal. Okay, coolant TD42, 10.5 litres with a front heater. Without a heater, 9.3, and even with a rear heater it's 12.9. And I've already put 15 litres in it. Just another little update. The ground around here is still fairly soft, as you can see by the tread pattern left in the driveway. So it's not really going to work to jack up the front of the car and remove the front diff housing. So what I have decided to do is going to try something different. I'm just going to replace the CV joint. Now I've got a spare one here. Now the thinking is that possibly the axle might be actually bent, and that's what's causing the axle seals to go. I can't really see a problem with the front diff housing that's in there at the moment. It doesn't look bent, but anything is possible. So I'm going to give that a try and just replace the axle seal, put a different CV in it, and when I do the little trip to Victoria that I'm just about to do, I'll test it out on the way and see if it starts leaking again. But I guess that depends on whether this axle is all rusted or not. It's been sitting in the shed for years. That looks alright. Well, there is a little bit of surface rust in the middle. Not too bad. The seal surface does have a little groove in it. You can just feel. So I think I'll try a trail gear axle seal. That has 2 seals on it, so that probably cover that. The rest of it doesn't look too bad. Anyway, worth a try. We'll see how she goes. doesn't look all that flash. Looks pretty muddy. I'd say there's water got in there. Anyway, we'll strip her down and have a look. And just something else I noticed, the circlip's actually sitting in there. It's actually come off that. Interesting. And one of the tools that I find very useful is a whale mouth set of vice grips. Got a rather large set of jaws. Perfect for grabbing hold of CVs and that sort of thing. When you're trying to pull a circlip on, you can whack these on and pull the CV out so you can get the circlip into a little groove there. Alright, next comes the step ring. I've got to be very careful taking these little screws out because you can easily burr them over, and even more importantly, you can easily lose them. And I find the circlip pliers makes it a lot easier to get this locking plate out. Not real easy trying to do all these things one-handed. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it, but there's another little step ring, what they call the ag ring, just there. So I'll see if I can lever that out. Alright, I guess now I better take the calipers off so I can pull the hub off. Well, the pads are plenty of meat on them. Lots of grease and crap around them there. They do seem to be working okay and they're not pulling or anything, so it doesn't seem to have affected the braking so far, but it's a real wonder why it hasn't. Yeah, the axle seal actually feels okay, but obviously it's not because there's so much watery looking oil in it. Okay, to get the axle seals out, I normally just get it on the edge there, chuck a screwdriver and smash them in, then bend it in. But there is a lip on the inside, so you've got to be careful not to smash straight into that. So do it at an angle. So I'm going to have to try and turn the wheel back so I can get more of an angle and get back in that way. Alright. Okay, what we got here is one of the Trail Gear Trail Safe axle seals. Now the difference is, if you have a look on the inside, you've got a seal at the back edge, or a lip at the back edge, and a lip at the front edge. When you look at the original style, there's just the one edge sort of in the middle. So basically that should miss that groove that I saw in the other CV joint. The only difference is you've got to seal these from the outside, so I'll just put a bit of silicone around the outside. When it slips into the hole, that holds it in there. Whereas these ones are a tap-in fit. These ones will actually just push in because they're only plastic. So they're supposed to be a lot better, but the last time I did use one, the little spring that's in there fell out and it leaked like a sieve. So I don't know whether I did that putting it in or not though. It's quite possible that when I was pushing the CV axle through that I've actually dislodged it somehow or other. So I'll be a little bit more careful this time. Anyway, I've cleaned up the inside, and I'll whack a bit of silicone on the seal and whack that in. Damn it. Fell off the CD. So, got to pull all that off again so I can whack it on. Don't forget, kids, the bevel goes on the inside. And you quite often can't see them when they've got grease and junk on them. Can't see that they're there. It's only when you clean them up and find out that they're brass instead of steel that you can tell the difference. Anyway, we'll get this thing back on again. And now that I've got the CV in and I've got the gear on, what you've got to do is pull back with that at the same time, push a screwdriver onto the circlip, push it into the groove. Alright, it's done. I'll do the rest tomorrow because it's pretty dark now. Alright, all buttoned up and filled up, all ready to go. And of course it rained while I was filling it up. But pretty sure she's good to go now. No signs of oil, so I should be able to see if there's any leaks on the trip. Woohoo! Hi-ho! Well, that's it for this episode, so I'll see you on the next adventure.